What are the most creative truths or dares you have witnessed at a game of truth or dare? Dare. Kiss the least attractive person here. Wow, nice way to get both the truth and dare in one shot. Back in the early 2000s they dared my friend who was pretty drunk to throw his cell phone out of the window at the 4th floor. He did it. We went downstairs in disbelief, put the pieces of the phone back together, and worked just as good as new. I guess you all know what brand it was. Dared a guy to add his ex to his family WhatsApp group. Dare. Piss your pants right now. The gal did it, too, on command and without shame. We were all under 16 and dead sober. Call your mom and tell her you love her. Nothing inherently weird about it, but calling your mom at 11 PM gets a decent reaction every single time. I dare you to reorganize your refrigerator in alphabetical order. Years ago one of my old friends from high school started dating this dude and a whole bunch of them were playing Never Have I Ever, and her new boyfriend's buddy was up, looks at this guy, smiles and says, never have I ever had a threesome involving my dad and my mom's best friend, and the friend's new boyfriend said, you son of a b, and took a drink. Go to a cashier with a pack of condoms and not enough money. Go put the condoms back. When you realize you don't have enough money, then return to the same cashier with rubber bands and plastic wrap. Truth. Do you have any nudes on your phone? Next round. Dare. Show us your nudes. I feel like I was set up. Not game of truth or dare, but punishments for losing beer pong. Guy A lost to Guy B. A's punishment was that he had to go outside, pull down his pants, and sit his bare in the snow for 20 seconds. I challenged him to a match and won. B's punishment was that he had to go outside and shove his face in the snow apron. Cabin in the woods over Christmas week. Outside in a hot tub. 6 inches of snow on the ground and snow still falling. Dared my wife, who was and still is the biggest wimp when it comes to cold weather, to run around the cabin, as in outside, naked and barefoot. She actually did it and then uncreatively dared me to do it. Turns out when your feet have been warmed to 104°F, that it isn't too bad, as long as you spend only 60 seconds or so doing it. This actually happened to me at a New Year's party. I was dared to jump on an uncarpeted door frame, if you don't know, the bottom of which are covered in sharp cold trop-like tacks. Needless to say I used my one pass on it. Was playing with friends and my crush was there too. Now the thing is, another one of my friend had a crush on same girl. I got dare and all the rest of my friends dared me not to play with them and go somewhere else. I don't talk to them now. Go find someone and convince them to join the game. It has to be a stranger. This is a fun one. If you're in a bar or a park, a beach or a street corner where people come to drink, like I used to hang out at back when I was young, it opens up the group to new people. Some people don't like to be bothered, but you can move on pretty quick, and when you find someone to join in, it's just making new friends and usually a good time. Plus it's a good excuse to talk to that attractive guy or girl over there. Dared to go up to a random house and use their bathroom. Lucky them, the guy happened to be awesome and they ended up hanging out. Kind of funny. 3 AM. Girl got dared to call her parents' house. This was in college, and only say and continue to repeat the saying peace in the Middle East. We assumed her mom or dad would just hang up, but no. Not only did they not hang up, they straight panicked, thought she was on drugs, and had lost her mind. In her defense, she never broke character. They showed up on campus the next day to take her home. It took some convincing and everyone who was at the party telling them that she was fine and it was all a joke before they backed off. But I'm pretty sure they had a mental health center appointment all set up for her already. Someone dared a friend of mine to French kiss a cow. She did it. That was a weird evening. Was spending a night at a campground while scoping out a town I was soon to be moving to when an attractive girl walked up to me and very dramatically pretended to need a light for a cigarette while asking, "Hey sailor, wanna light my fire?" I responded with "What the F?" and she ran back over to the only other occupied campsite laughing. She came back a bit later and admitted they were playing truth or dare. I ended up getting laid that night and dating her casually for a year or two after making the move. Dared a roommate to call his dad and tell him he got the other roommate pregnant. Was a great call. Dad was very supportive and just asked questions. At the end of the call, he copped to it. Seriously, thank God. Best news I've had all day. Love ya son. I'm gonna go. Have a drink now. Bye. It was a dare, but it was planned. My sister was pregnant, but she didn't tell her husband yet. Test was only a few hours old. We decided to gather all friends and do a pizza party and play some truth or dare to reveal it. When it was her turn, the dare was, I dare you to tell your husband. Well, things went from laughing to happiness. The little kid is now 8 years old, and she's lovely. I totally became the loving uncle. Freshman year of college. Ended up playing a game with some other guys on my floor, a few of their girlfriends and a couple other randoms during a party. One of the other guys had a pretty creative and fun dare. I dare you to go find someone else of the opposite sex that you don't know in the slightest and convince them to come back with you and join this game. Wasn't at me, but to their credit the person who got challenged ended up going upstairs. Guys and girls were on separate floors and coming back down with a random girl and her roommate after a couple minutes. They ended up being pretty cool and would come down to hang with a few of us pretty regularly that year. Still keep in touch with one of them on Facebook occasionally. Always thought that was a pretty fun idea to end up meeting some new people. I watched a guy ask a girl, if you weren't dating your boyfriend, would you go out with me, in front of her boyfriend? I was on a bus ride coming back from a band trip, the lights were off, and my group of friends were playing games to pass the time. It went everywhere from stage kissing people to licking each other's shoes, and 2 people were going to fight for the top spot. Me being the most creative came up with what will go down in history as the best dare in history. I dared one of my friends to go to the back of the bus to the bathroom, center aisle bathroom with the only light on the bus currently, and dared him to go in, change around his clothes to make it look like something strange is going on, and then let the door swing open and let it stay open. Lights on for about 3 to 5 seconds. My friend got up, walked solemnly to the back and went in. About a minute later the door swings open, the light cascades down the aisle and the bus falls silent. Everybody is starting at this kid who has his shirt half off, pants half cocked, a shoe on his hand and a sock on his face. After the time passed he reached for the door and closed it. The bus silent. 1 minute later he quietly walks out not saying a word and sits down next to us. Mic dropped. He won. Not witness but happened to me few years back. So me, a man, and my best friend, also a man, pretended to be a couple in school. On the last day before the term break, the class decided to play truth or dare. When it was my turn, I was dared to either give my best friend a love bite or make out for a good few seconds. Chose the latter. Came out as B 2 years later. I was the recipient of a dare phone call from a group of girls in my class at a sleepover that I wasn't invited to. I got a call to my phone from girls in my class one evening. We were 12 and text and phone calls were only used at the time. Only one of the girls had my number, and who I thought I would become friends with on the phone was that girl and a bunch of other girls from my class, and they said some generic, not mean, things in funny voices, then said who they were, and I laughed and asked how it was, even though I was struggling with feeling left out and isolated. The excitement and hope I got, because I thought I was being included. I thought they were going to invite me over. Nope. They started insulting me, saying they didn't like me, and they are glad I wasn't there in a mean girl's way. One girl in particular came on the phone and said, I really don't like you, with a smug tone. They were active about this too, and would actively exclude me in school when we were forced to be together all day every day for 7 years. I was 12 and a few months into secondary school that I was struggling with already. My birthday was a few months later, and I made sure to tell absolutely no one about it because it would draw attention to the fact that I had no friends. We had a friend who was bi-curious at the time and really questioning her sexuality, so over the course of 2 hours she wound up being dared to kiss every single person there. She decided she liked girls more after that, to the chagrin of her boyfriend, who already wasn't happy at us.